The chosen one. They handed you a piece of paper, unsigned at the top, blank at the bottom, just to keep you quiet, because what you know is their greatest fear. Speaking the truth carries a frequency that will shatter their system. That's why they offered you a fortune for silence. But you are not someone to be silenced. Write 888 in the comments now, because your presence is a message. Your breath is a warning. The Illuminati's checkbook may be endless, but your conscience cannot be bought. Now everyone knows the one they wanted to silence was sent to awaken. You walk into a room carrying the hum of a hidden generator, and suddenly unfamiliar faces drift in as if pulled by an unseen magnet, eyes cataloging every move, confirming what you suspected all along. Your wiring fascinates them beyond casual curiosity. You notice how conversation, posture, even wardrobe near perfectly echo habits you introduced weeks earlier. That repeat performance is no compliment. It is hunger in plain clothing, proof that your internal broadcast transmits codes capable of upgrading anyone tuned to the signal. You function like tomorrow's operating system running on yesterday's hardware, and their unspoken fascination comes from instinctive knowledge that your design specs preview the next model of human experience. Each arrival coincides with milestones, moments you voice deeper convictions, moments you quit dimming to fit delicate egos. Timed visits stamped with the cosmos watermark that declares you have crossed another upgrade checkpoint. Inquisitors probe, what inspired that decision? Or why did you choose that route? All attempts to map instincts that download to you like pre-installed apps the moment you need them. Your internal radar rings truer than doubt. When motives feel off, you pivot. No apologies, because sacred cargo doesn't ride in unlocked trunks for random inspection. Imagine you've been gifted the most wonderful television set. One of those big, beautiful screens with vivid colors and crystal clear detail. It's connected directly to a satellite that broadcasts messages straight from heaven. Now, all day long, God's sending wisdom and encouragement, prosperity and peace through this special channel. The only issue is, some folks still have their antennas tuned to an old, grainy, black and white frequency. They're twisting knobs, adjusting rabbit ears, but all they pick up is static. It's not because the message isn't clear or because heaven stopped broadcasting, it's because their receiver simply isn't set up to receive the clarity that heaven's signal provides. You see, wisdom wrapped in heaven's own divine language can seem puzzling, even strange, to ears still tuned only to basic AM. The precious truths and powerful blessings remain hidden, like a secret message written in invisible ink, until the frequency of their spirit rises high enough to unlock that glorious revelation. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. God doesn't withhold His best from anyone. In fact, His promises are continually flowing towards us, just like sunshine pouring freely onto a field. The sun doesn't decide which flower will bloom. The flowers choose whether or not to open their petals to the sunlight. In the same way, God's wisdom pours into every heart, but it requires hearts that are ready, open, and receptive. Have you ever tried explaining your big dreams to someone who just can't grasp it. You share your vision, your plans, your excitement, but instead of joy, you get confusion. They might smile politely, but deep down, they're wondering if you're living in a fantasy. It's not because your dream isn't valid or your vision isn't clear. It's because their spiritual antenna hasn't yet been upgraded to receive that higher signal of faith, abundance, and divine possibility. Think of those wonderful moments when you're driving along a country road, trying to tune in your favorite gospel station. You hear static and interference at first, but then suddenly, clear as a bell, the voice of inspiration fills your car. You found the frequency, and instantly clarity flooded your spirit. This is exactly how spiritual wisdom operates. When our inner frequency matches heaven's signal, revelation rushes in, clear and vibrant. So many people live their lives stuck on the lower frequencies. They're trapped in worry, fear, doubt, and negativity. They hear the static of problems louder than the clear promises of God. They see only limitations when God's trying to show them limitless possibilities. They're tuned to scarcity instead of abundance. But my friends, God's divine broadcast is always sending a different message. A message of hope, a message of prosperity, a message of peace. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Here's the truth. Spiritual wisdom isn't hidden from us, it's hidden for us. It's placed safely out of reach of negativity, doubt, and fear, waiting patiently until our spiritual ears are ready to hear it. It's like a precious inheritance kept in trust until we mature enough to handle it wisely. God knows exactly when you're ready, and when you are, nothing can stop that wisdom from flowing freely into your life. We sometimes worry when others don't understand our spiritual journey. But remember, God never called you to convince everyone around you. He simply asks you to shine your light, to keep your frequency tuned high, and to let your life speak louder than your words. Over time, your joy, your peace, your victories become undeniable evidence of the power of tuning in to God's frequency. Remember Joseph, who shared his dreams of greatness only to find misunderstanding from his brothers. They weren't ready to hear it, because their hearts weren't yet tuned to Joseph's divine frequency. But eventually, when Joseph's dream came to pass, everyone saw clearly. In the same way, your spiritual dreams, though misunderstood at first, will ultimately reveal God's magnificent plan for your life. Your victories will speak louder than explanations ever could. I want to encourage you today. Don't get discouraged when people around you don't understand your vision, your hope, your joy. Your job isn't to convince them. Your job is to keep your antenna high, your heart open, and your frequency tuned to heaven. When you do, you become an example, a beacon, a lighthouse, guiding others safely through the fog of confusion toward their own divine revelation. As you continue to rise, you'll notice some people pulling away. They may become uncomfortable because your clarity highlights their confusion. That's okay. Bless them anyway, and keep rising. Eventually, your unwavering joy and clarity will draw others up to your frequency. They'll begin asking, "How do I get what you have? How can I experience that peace?" And that, my friends, is when you get to gently show them how to adjust their antenna and tune in to the glorious frequency of God's best. Never apologize for the clarity you've received. Never lower your frequency to match someone else's static. Instead, keep your joy dialed high, your gratitude strong, and your heart full of praise. Your clear signal is an invitation for others to join you. And let me tell you something else. When you stay tuned to this higher frequency, you'll start experiencing blessings you never imagined. Doors that seemed forever locked will swing wide open. Opportunities you never saw coming will find you. Miracles will become everyday occurrences because you're tuned directly into heaven's frequency. It's important to remember, raising your spiritual frequency doesn't make you superior to anyone else. It simply makes you available to receive God's absolute best. It puts you in alignment with His unlimited provision, love, joy, and peace. You're not better than others. You're just blessed enough to know there's more available and courageous enough to reach for it. How do you practically raise your frequency every day? Begin each morning with gratitude. Thank God for the good things in your life, big and small. Let your first thoughts set your frequency for the day. Fill your mind with promises, affirmations, scriptures, and truths that uplift and empower you. Tune out negativity, gossip, and fear-based messages. Surround yourself with people who encourage your highest self, who celebrate your victories and believe in your dreams. Throughout the day, pause frequently to realign. If negativity creeps in, gently shift back to gratitude. This practice of constantly recalibrating ensures your frequency stays clear and your spiritual receiver stays strong. Even if others dismiss your clarity as wishful thinking or positivity as naive optimism, stay steady. History is full of visionaries whose frequencies were misunderstood until their visions came to pass and changed the world. You're in good company, and your day of undeniable proof is coming. I know at times it might feel lonely. You might wonder if you're the only one tuning in at this level. But let me assure you, you're not alone. There's an entire community of high-frequency receivers out there, others who share your joy, your vision, your clarity. God is bringing these divine connections into your life even now. Keep your frequency clear, and you'll recognize each other instantly. Beloved, your spiritual frequency is your greatest asset. Protect it, nourish it, celebrate it. Know that every word of wisdom, every insight, every inspiration you receive is a gift directly from heaven, tailored precisely for your life's purpose. And here's the best part. This wisdom isn't limited. There's always more revelation, more peace, more prosperity waiting to flow through. You can never exhaust God's generosity. The higher you tune your heart, the more abundant and glorious your life becomes. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. So today, lift your antenna higher. Fine-tune your spirit to the clarity of God's message. Know with absolute certainty that heaven is broadcasting blessings directly to you. Answers to prayers you haven't even prayed yet. Breakthroughs you haven't even imagined. Your best days aren't behind you. They're just ahead, waiting for you to align your frequency and step fully into your divine purpose. Hold your head high, knowing you are chosen, called, and equipped to receive heaven's finest. Keep your spirit attuned, your heart grateful, your vision clear. The encryption is lifting. Revelation is flowing. Heaven is ready to flood your life with more joy, more favor, and more blessings than you've ever imagined. Get ready, because you haven't seen anything yet. Heaven's frequency is strong, and your best days are about to unfold right before your eyes. After study comes imitation. When results misfire, admiration sours into critique and sabotage. An algorithm you've watched repeat so often, you can predict the pop-up before it appears. Critique zeroes in on the very traits heaven asked you to steward. Tone it down. Stay realistic. Quit dreaming, which roughly translates to please shrink so our comfort zone needn't stretch. Every reformer, from ancient prophets to modern pioneers, met identical static. Sparks draw buckets of water only because they threaten to ignite dry fields. Your senses pick up currents the way vintage radios catch distant stations. Messages come through before headlines print, guiding you past potholes others never see. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. An invitation now rings out from allies of equal voltage, names like Mike and Ari, summoning you to a council where extraordinary stories swap encryption keys and nobody asks you to dim anything. Trust that first flutter in your gut when a stranger smiles too wide or a path suddenly glows brighter. That is your internal compass tapping into future coordinates your conscious mind will decode later. You radiate like a midnight lighthouse, equal parts invitation and warning, and that glow both intrigues onlookers and unsettles pretenders. Your double-edged awareness spots counterfeit smiles the way metal detectors find hidden blades, making you indispensable and, to some, intolerable. Seeing beyond masks is a sacred honor that also carries weight. Wielding it wisely turns perception into protection, not spectacle. The frequency you emit behaves like a tuning fork, striking silence. Every stale idea nearby vibrates into fresh possibility. Conversation around you morphs into brainstorming. Roadblocks sprout escape hatches, and stalled meetings jolt forward once your vision locks in. Personal trophies matter less than collective upgrades. You are coded to recalibrate atmospheres, not just notch solo wins. Where complacency settles like dust, your presence kicks up gusts strong enough to swirl old narratives right off the shelf. That stir can feel abrasive, yet friction is the flint that sparks paradigm shifts. Without heat, metals never forge into sharper tools. Inspection flashlights glare, yet your authenticity stands granite still, hardening under every watt of scrutiny. Critique functions as weight training for discernment. Resistance presses diamonds out of carbon. Each jab only refines the cut of your clarity. You move like the calm eye inside a cyclone. Utter stillness while change howls in concentric rings around you. Spectators fixate on the orbit you generate, confirming that still water at your core powers tidal waves at the edge. Life is like a beautifully woven tapestry hanging in a grand, heavenly hall. From up close, you might notice just threads and knots, some bright, some dark, scattered seemingly at random. But take a step back, and suddenly everything makes sense. Each thread perfectly placed, each color carefully chosen, forming a breathtaking picture of divine purpose and grace. In your own life, every moment, every seemingly random encounter, every unexpected delay or surprising shift is one of these divinely placed threads. Consider the small things. The encouraging message that arrived precisely when your heart was heavy, lifting your spirits at the exact moment you needed strength. Think about the appointment that got cancelled, redirecting your steps and landing you face to face with someone who opened new doors of opportunity. Recall that detour you reluctantly took, grumbling at the inconvenience, only to later discover it protected you from unseen trouble or guided you into a pivotal partnership. None of these events happen by mere chance. They're orchestrated meticulously, divinely appointed to guide you along paths of purpose, paths you may never have chosen on your own. Imagine a heavenly dispatch center, bustling with angelic hosts, carefully plotting your steps, making sure your timing aligns with others destined to cross your path. Invisible spiritual operators work tirelessly behind the scenes, shifting schedules, prompting hearts, opening some doors, while gently closing others, ensuring you reach each appointed destination exactly when your presence is needed most. God's hand is in every twist and turn of your journey. He knows exactly where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to arrive, and who you'll meet along the way. Each interaction, no matter how small it might seem, is a purposeful encounter. You may have felt frustration when a door shut unexpectedly, disappointment when a partnership fell through, confusion when your plans abruptly changed. Yet what appeared as setbacks were actually strategic repositionings, divinely orchestrated moments guiding you toward greater fulfillment. Think of the story of Joseph. Betrayed, sold into slavery, wrongly imprisoned. None of it seemed fair or purposeful at first glance. Yet every step of Joseph's journey positioned him perfectly, placing him exactly where he needed to be at just the right moment. Had he avoided the pit, he would have missed the palace. Your life, too, is full of these divine orchestrations, moments initially perplexing, even painful, that ultimately set you up for unprecedented blessing and breakthrough. Maybe right now, you feel like you're in the pit, uncertain about where life is leading you. Perhaps doors you expected to swing wide have instead slammed shut. But rest assured, each of those closed doors is pointing you toward an even grander gate, one that God has already prepared for you. His ways are always higher, His plans infinitely wiser, His timing absolutely flawless. Nothing is random in the divine economy. Every detour is deliberate, every delay purposeful, every connection intentional. When life redirects you, it's not rejection, it's divine redirection toward your destiny. God knows exactly the puzzle where your unique piece fits perfectly. Your gifts, your talents, your experiences, they are all carefully shaped and refined so that when you finally arrive at your appointed moment, everything clicks effortlessly into place. Others will marvel at your journey, asking how everything came together so seamlessly, and your testimony will be clear. It wasn't luck or coincidence. It was the hand of God at work, guiding every step. You carry within you a divine resonance, a special frequency, uniquely attuned to situations God has designed specifically for you. No one else can fill the space meant for your voice, your presence, your influence. The reason you sometimes feel out of place in certain situations is because you're destined to be exactly where your light shines brightest, where your gifts flow freely, where your heart finds greatest joy and deepest fulfillment. As you reflect on the many so-called coincidences that led you here, see each one as a note in God's symphony, perfectly timed, harmoniously arranged. Just as an orchestra conductor skillfully guides musicians to blend into a masterpiece, God directs each encounter, every moment, into a beautiful melody of purpose. Even moments that once seemed out of tune or out of time are revealed in hindsight to be essential parts of His majestic composition. Remember today, nothing about your path is accidental. Even delays serve a greater purpose, often protecting you from unseen harm or aligning you perfectly with divine appointments waiting just ahead. Trust God's timing. Embrace the unexpected turns, and know that heaven's logistics team is always working diligently on your behalf. When you encounter interruptions, don't be discouraged. Instead, lift your eyes upward and smile, knowing another piece of your divine puzzle is falling perfectly into place. Your life is not a series of random events, but a sacred dance, choreographed by the Creator himself. Keep your faith strong, your spirit open, and your heart tuned to gratitude. As you do, you'll begin to recognize even the smallest moments as miraculous stepping stones, guiding you ever closer to your greatest destiny. Walk forward with joyful expectation, confident that every moment, every encounter, every detour is perfectly planned. Your steps are ordered, your path illuminated, your purpose secured. Rejoice today, knowing you are exactly where you're meant to be, precisely when you're meant to be there. The best is yet to come, and every thread in the tapestry of your life, both bright and dark, is weaving you directly into a masterpiece of divine fulfillment. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to his plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially, far beyond your expectations. Remember, his protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of his divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as his mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. What looks like a dead end is often a cosmic forklift, lifting you onto a faster track. Bonds snap, offers vanish, structures crumble only when they finish teaching. Once their lesson ends, blessings barge in through the vacancy. Purpose acts as magnetic armor. The deeper you stand in original intent, the thicker the plating grows. Alignment and immunity rise in tandem. Integrity is the premium subscription that grants 24-hour angelic security detail. Thought, emotion, belief, and certainty march in tight formation inside you. That synchronicity accelerates dreams into blueprints and blueprints into bricks. Outsiders jot notes, but miss the secret sauce. Coherence is the engine, not the formula. Pay attention to the sky's calendar. Downloads spike when stargates hinge open. Planetary chords strike, and suddenly insight flows through you like sheet music, perfectly pitched because your consciousness is the instrument tuned for that recital. Everything you craft, sentence, sketch, business model, carries embedded activation codes. Exposure alone flips hidden switches in receptive minds. You are both carrier wave and content packet, transmitting upgrades with every creative pulse. When you cross paths with another wired like you, recognition erupts faster than names are exchanged. Your fields entwine, amplifying amplitude while energy vampires scurry. Drainers lose grip, expander souls lock arms. Two or more aligned disruptors magnify outcomes exponentially. Timelines speed shift, doors materialize, and odds recalibrate. Protect these alliances as you would priceless seed. Joint frequency harvests feed multitudes. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. You were dispatched to draw new boundary lines, not color inside existing ones. Misinterpretation of your difference simply highlights how ahead of schedule your blueprint truly is. Singular roads, occasional isolation, and nights spent talking only with destiny keep your signal pure. Compression chambers, once called loneliness, now function as resonance chambers that heighten broadcast range. Activation switch flipped, transmission live. The receivers destined to tune in are already dialing, while blockers must churn through their own static. You occupy the nexus, observed, debated, unboxed, yet unbroken, holding space where mortal limits finish and new coordinates begin. That is your mantle, your marvel, your mission.